This is a tutorial for using multi-sub material mapping in 3D Studio Max. So what we're going to do for this tutorial is we're going to make ourselves a dice with different numbers on either side. So I'm going to get myself a box. I'm going to create myself a box in 3D Max. I might go full screen. Dices are symmetrical, so I'm going to go for 100 on the parameters. So I have a dice. A perfect cube. So in this tutorial I'm going to go through the steps on how to put a different image onto each face. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure it's an editable poly. So at the moment it's just a box, so under your modifier you'll realise that it's just a box. If I right click on it, convert it to editable poly, this thing can become an editable shape. So if I select the polygons on the right, I've got different faces. When I scroll down in this window, I get to polygon material IDs. So you'll see as you click on a different ID, they have a different number. So the side there, 3, 4, 5, 6. The top is 1, the bottom is 2. So remember, you can rotate underneath the bottom to select the bottom one, and the bottom one's 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a different image onto each one. So to do this, I'm just going to go and turn that back off, because I don't need to change the numbers because I want a different number on each side. To do this, I'm going to use my material editor. To get that, you press M on the keyboard, M for material. If yours pops up and it's a slate editor, just go to modes and go to compact, because I find this is quite easy to use. You can use everyone you want, the principles are still the same, but grab the sphere, drop it onto your object. The diffuse is your colour. So if you change the colour, change the tone of it, that's listening to it, but it's all one at the moment. So what I want to do is I want to change from a standard material to a multi-sub object. Press OK. I can keep my old material, and it means number 1's got that colour on it, which is perfect. Therefore number 2 is below it, number 3 is below it, number 4 is below it. So if I go into number 2 and just give it a standard, I don't need to select multi-sub for a second time, I only need it once. Go for a standard one. This time I'm going to give this colour, let's say a pink, so it stands out. Looks the same, but I've got a little back button here called Go to Parent. If I click that, I can go back to my numbers list, and I've got the stripes on there. So if I go underneath my object now, I'll see that I've got the pink. Okay, so you could go through and just change the colours, and that way you've got like a colourful building block. But what I want to do is not use the green, I want to put a picture on it. Now the picture I've got, I'm in Photoshop right now, and I've got a different side of a dice for each side I've got. So I'm going to save number 1. I'm going to go File, Save As. As a JPEG. And I'm going to call it Dice1. And then when I'm in 3D, I'll be able to go into that green one. And where it says diffuse colour, there's a little button to the side of it, and that's where you're going to swap it for a map. You can also click the maps at the bottom, and I'm going to click the little shortcut button, choose bitmap, and then I should be able to access my dice number 1. Okay, now you won't be able to see it to begin with. 3D Max always holds that back, but if you select the show mapping viewport, it will put it on there. So you've now got your dice image on there. So don't forget your back button to go back. I'm going to go into 2, swap the pink for a bitmap. It's already pre-selected, and now I need number 2 image. I've not got it saved, so I'll nip back over to 3D. I'll just do number 3 because then you'll be able to see it affect a little bit quicker. Dice 3, and then where's number 3? Hit the back button, go into that one, get a standard material, and then instead of the diffuse colour I'm going to put on number 3. Just double click bitmap. The reason I've done that is because you should be able to see where I've got a dice for each one, dice side for each one. So back button's the most important thing there. Keep going through them, add all the different numbers to them, and you'll have a dice, so that when you do render it with the lightning strike next to the teapot, you'll have an image of a dice that's fully complete. Notice how on my graphic I've got shading on the actual image. I'm not doing it just inside 3D and relying on the lighting for that. I'm actually doing it here as well. So if you want to, do a little gradient on there. That's what I've done in the background. I've gone from grey to white to grey, and that's a nice little way of getting it getting it right. Alternatively, just take your own photographs and use some original photographs on there. But again, multi-sub object, apply your multiple numbers, and you're ready to go.